Yes.
To answer this question.
I'll answer it two ways. There's an immediate and perhaps a future piece to this, and these are not the only things that can be done, but perhaps something. I was in DC all of last week, in my own little way, trying to improve the national dialogue with regard to decision makers in our government about what our policy is towards Palestine, towards Israel, and our involvement therein. And I'll tell you the result of that week's worth of work and the decades, frankly, of work that have gone behind it, are that 5 leaders in the American Muslim community sat down with President Biden, and in summary, their ask was this: stop the bombing, call for a ceasefire. Let's not contribute to the catastrophe. Let's solve the humanitarian crisis. If someone asks you a question, Sheikh, about what are the Muslims thinking, that's what's on our mind. How do we make this stop? Because enough death is enough death. That's the immediate thing. Regarding the future, I know that our 2 congregations have a wonderful relationship where we've done beautiful things in the community here in Michigan. One of them being the refugee dental program that I know Dr. Rosanna and you and many members of your congregation have made immense contributions to, not just materially, but in terms of spearheading the initiative and leadership. Praying that our calls for ceasefire are heeded and that the bombing does stop. The question then is, what next? I know some of you had mentioned, how does one rebuild? What does that look like? And I'll say this not as the Muslim from the Unity Center, I'll say this as a taxpayer who's paying for bombs that are blowing up houses. We need to send resources, not from airplanes, but we need to send, and that blow things up, but resources that build things up. In whatever manifestation that looks like. I know we had talked when the bombing happened in the church, and we said there are Anglican connectivity towards many of these places in Gaza and the congregation here through shared theological connection. I would love to see in our Michigan Interfaith Community that the thing we do when the ceasefire does happen, and we're optimistic people as people of faith. God has a plan, and we're watching it unfold, and we're hopeful that what we are calling for will happen. And when that does happen, I pray that our 2 communities can work together to be rebuilders of what is taking place.
Thank you so much. We're going to stop at this point just because we've hit that time in which it is time to stop.